everybody, it's Lon.TV, and we have been blessed with a plethora of inexpensive Windows tablets that all cost under $100, but they're running the full version of Windows. And often it's kind of hard, especially like on the Stream 7 here, to be able to do all of the desktop things you might want to do. So my first reaction when I first looked at the Stream 7 was to try to plug it into a monitor and keyboard and get to town on using it like a regular computer, except the fact that I couldn't use USB devices and charge the Stream 7 at the same time. And the folks from Plugable reached out to me the other day. They have a product that's sitting here on my desk right now. This is called the Pro8 docking station, and this is designed to solve that problem. So what it is basically what we call a port replicator. So you plug in a USB cable and attach it to your tablet, and then you get all of these ports. But it also will charge the device too if the tablet's compatible. So I can tell you the Stream 7 is compatible. A couple of these tablets that we're going to be looking at from our CES sponsor Excel work with it as well. So I think the compatibility is pretty decent. It was made for Dell's 8-inch tablet, but again, it's going to work with other Windows tablets that are compatible as well. They are keeping a compatibility list on their website. So the ports that you get are quite numerous. You have two USB 2.0 ports on the front here, so it's got like a USB hub built in. You have audio out and audio in. If you saw my video about some of the static we were hearing on the HP Stream 7's headphone port, this will eliminate that problem because you're running USB audio into this device, which is cleaner. So that will solve a little issue there if you're having that interference issue. You get two more USB ports on the back, a 100 megabit Ethernet connector here, DVI, which is a video connector. They also give you adapters in the box for HDMI and VGA as well, so they've got all your bases covered. And then again, you just plug your device into the little port there, and everything comes up. And for most devices, it will power it at the same time. So really a great way to make this Stream 7 or another compatible Windows tablet into essentially a desktop. Now the video performance might get impacted by processor load because the device in here is identical to that standalone USB to HDMI adapter that we looked at a few weeks ago from Plugable, so it is processor dependent. But if your tablet has an HDMI connector like this Excel tablet has, then you could just use that and use the native video on there as opposed to having to run it through the processor first. So some choices to make, but if you want to get this hooked up to a monitor, it will work. So what we're going to do now is plug it in and see how it all comes together. All right, so we have everything plugged in, pardon the wires, but it gets a little messy when you've got all these things connected. So we have our Stream 7 connected up right now, and I will cut over to our main desktop here, and you'll see here at the bottom that we are plugged in and charging, yet I am using a keyboard and mouse with the device, so we're able to get everything working. I did find that there was some flakiness with the display, so I had to kind of lock everything down in landscape orientation so it wouldn't move around when I loaded up certain apps. So you do need to kind of make some adjustments because occasionally for almost no reason you'll start getting things oriented the wrong way, and again, partly because you're dealing with a tablet here that's not really designed to do this kind of stuff. So, but it is working, and what I'm going to do here is just kind of pop open a few apps so you can get a feel for how well or how not so well things might run. So it is a little bit slower as far as like screen updates are concerned, so it will feel a little bit slower than it might on your actual device when you're using it, but we'll just do our usual web browsing testing. We'll pop over to CNN, and I think the more that happens on the processor side, the more that the processor is taxed with, the slower your screen rendering is going to be. But again, it's pretty usable. I think if you're using email and word processing and that sort of thing, it should work pretty well. And if you have a tablet that has HDMI out, you will, of course, get better performance because you're using the device's native video system as opposed to this virtual one. So you should be able to get some good experiences there with that. So now another thing we're going to try out here real quick is just plug in a USB stick and see what happens to that. So I'm going to pull up our list of devices here and just insert this little memory card into the USB port, and hopefully we should see another drive pop up here in a second, and there you go. So here we've got our USB stick accessible, our keyboard and mouse is still working, and we are still getting power to the device. So pretty cool. I would expect some of the gaming performance to mirror what we saw with the pluggable adapter. So what I will do though, just because I know a lot of you will ask, is we'll pop up Half-Life 2 and see how that operates through the virtual video device. All right, well here we are running Half-Life 2 on the Stream 7 through the Plugable's video hardware. I did turn the resolution down to 720p. I think this is probably about the best we're going to get out of it, but it runs pretty nicely. Now, this is not a new game in any sense of the word. It's a couple of years old, maybe more than a couple of years old, but it is playable, and pretty neat that we're running this through basically the Atom processor first before we're getting rendered video through the pluggable docking station. So this is usable. Again, I don't think modern games are going to work all that great on here, but again, you're probably not going to run a modern game on a device with a gig of RAM and an Atom processor anyhow. So I think for gaming, it's probably usable. Just make sure you temper your expectations appropriately. All right, one more quick test to do. We've got one of the Excel tablets plugged in with HDMI as well as being connected to the pluggable docking station, so the keyboard and mouse both work, but we're running video not through this, but through its native HDMI, and I think this is probably the way to go. So if we'll go switch over to our window here, running the HDMI version, we'll just go pop over to maybe CNN again and kind of repeat the last test that we did, and you can see already that it's a little bit faster just moving the window around. The screen renders a little bit faster, and again, that's because we're relying upon the built-in HDMI on the device versus having it go through this intermediary system through the docking station. But beyond that, it works pretty darn good. And I think if you're looking for the solution to be able to use a monitor from time to time with your inexpensive Windows tablet and want to get a keyboard and mouse connected, this is a really nice little solution. Single cable, plug it in. The video performance will be so-so if you don't have native HDMI on the tablet, but if all you're doing is word processing, email, and some light web browsing, you're not really going to notice any kind of speed degradation, and I think this is a really convenient solution. The only downside is that this retails for about $87, $89 or something like that, so it pretty much costs as much as the cost of entry is on one of these tablets. So, I think we're at a point now where the tablet, the computer portion of the purchase, is the least expensive part versus all the accessories. But if you're looking for a way to use your tablet in a more desktop kind of way, I think this device will certainly fit the bill for you. So that is the Plugable Pro8 docking station. It works, and it works great for what it is. And this is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching.